Well, hi there, pluckers. Ivor Sawfingers back with you again with hopefully another interesting lesson. This one is part 2 of my lessons on a song called A Lady of a Certain Age, as done by the Divine Comedy, or also known as Neil Hannon. Okay, lovely song, lovely chord sequence, but some of the chords are somewhat unusual shapes, fingerings, etc. So, lovely song to get your teeth into. So, to recap, standard tuning, capo fret 3, okay? We're doing it in the same key as Neil Hannon, I think it's the key of E flat, okay? Now, in part 1 we covered just purely the intro. This part 2 is purely about the verse section. All the verses play the same, obviously with different words, but they play the same, okay? So, coming out of the intro, after we stopped doing the picking bit, we went into an A minor strum. So you finished the picking bit, and with that sort of a strum on the G7 there, bit of a pause, and then you're into. That's the way I play it. Now I will say that for all you purists out there, I think Neil Hannon, when he's playing that A minor strum with the hammer, I do it with the first finger opening up the second string and hammering it back in, so it's like. I think he does the same thing, but he uses his second finger on the fourth string. Okay, so there's an option there, whichever you prefer. Okay, so it's either using your first finger or your second finger on the fourth string. Same thing, but just a different string. Whichever you prefer. Okay, so I'm going to go through this verse very slowly, line by line. Okay, because it's quite different in some of the chords, fingerings, etc. Okay, so starting off, when you've done 2 bars of the hammering A minor, whichever version you're doing, back in the day, I've been part of a small set. Right, so what am I doing there? So after you've done 2 bars of the hammering A minor, it's like A minor, straightforward A minor, and every start of each bar you hit on this song, you generally hit a bass note. And obviously with the A minor at the moment, on this particular bit, it's an open A string, 5th string. So you hit the A string and then you strum, yeah? So that sort of thing. So it's back in the day I'd been. Right, now when you get to part, it's F major 7 with A in the bass, or F major 7/A. So that's quite a simple one. It's just like a standard F chord, simple F chord, but lift up the bar. Okay, so the top E string is open. That gives you your F major 7. But you need to play it with A in the bass, which is the 5th string, open. Okay, so when that chord changes to the F major 7/A, you hit the A string first, and then strum on the F major 7. Okay, so it's back in the day, I've been part of the. Now we go to smart set. You change chord to an F6 with A in the bass, okay, and that's a standard F chord again, but this time with the bar, okay, keep the bar, standard F chord, but add your pinky to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, the B string, but again you play it with the A string open, okay, it should sound like that. If you've got the right chord, it should sound like that, 5 downwards, okay. So let's go through that. So when you smart set, you hit the A, you change to the F6 chord, but with the A in the bass, you hit the A string open and then strum the F6 chord. Okay, so first line. Back in the day you have been part. Sorry, let's do it again. Back in the day you had been part of the smart set. Okay. We move to the second line and we change chords to a G7. Now this is similar to the G7 that you played in the intro, but slightly different. But it's quite easy to change from the F6, because all you do is you leave the third finger and pinky where they are on the F6. Take the first and second fingers away and put your second finger up to the third fret on the bottom E string. So you've now got the third fret from the capo on the bottom E string, the third fret from the capo on the fourth string, the D string, and again third fret from the capo on the B string, the second string. Okay, and if you play from 6 down to 5, what am I talking about? 5. From 6 down to 2, the B string, from the bottom E down to the B string, that's your G7. Should sound like that. Now the A string is muted. Okay, this second finger here is leaning over. It should be automatically doing it, I would imagine. It does on mine anyway. And the back end of that finger is resting on the A string and mutes it. So that's muted, okay? The fifth string's muted. Okay, so what you do with this, when you change to this chord, you hit the root note, which is the third on the bottom E string, and strum the rest of the chord. Try to avoid the open E string, if you can. Okay, I mean, it's not disastrous, but it's not meant to be in the chord. Okay, so now you've got this. Back in the day, you have been part of the smart set. You holiday with kings. Okay, got that. And now we change to a nice easier one, a C add 9. It's a standard C chord, but with your pinky added to the third fret on the second string. And the root note, obviously the bass note on this is the root note of the chord, which is the third on the fifth, that one there, third finger there. So it's right. So it's 2 beats on that one, and then we go to a straightforward C chord. Take the pinky off and play the C chord straight. Okay, and that's where it goes. Dine down with starlets. Okay, so the first 2 lines together. Back in the day, you had been part of the smart set. You holiday with kings and dined out with starlets. Okay, now go to line 3. Now this is probably a lot of you won't have played this shape before. It's another F major 7th. But it's this shape. Okay, so basically what it is, break it down, what it looks like is it's like an A minor played with different fingers. So it's the same as an A minor, but it's played with your second finger on the first fret of the second string, the B string, and your third finger and pinky playing the second fret of the fourth and third strings. It's basically an A minor with different fingers, but what you do is your first finger plays the bottom E string first fret, and that's the root note, so you hit that and strum the chord. Okay, try to mainly hit the fourth, third and second strings, but okay. And that's the bit that goes from London to New York. Okay, so if I just play up to their points, so far. Back in the day, you had been part of the smart set. You holiday with kings and dined out with starlets from New York. Okay, the open A string's in there as well. That's open as well. That's all right. Okay, so that's from London to York, cap, and then we go into a D. Now this is a chord called D minor 6 with F in the bass. Okay, and all it do from this F major 7th is you basically remove your second finger and third finger, and leave the first finger and your pinky where they are. So it's the first fret of the bottom E string and the second fret of the third string. Okay, so you've got, that's how it was F major 7th, and what you do is you just take those, what I do, I mean you could use any finger that's more comfortable for you to play that second fret of the third string. Okay, if it's more comfortable for you to actually just use your third finger or second finger or whatever you want to do, but that's the note you need, is that second fret of the third string along with the bottom E string first fret. Okay, and this time you get that nice sound. Just play the bottom E string first fret, and the 4th, 3rd and 2nd strings is your target. Okay. Okay, so now we've got that, so let's just do the song so far. Back in the day you had been part of the smart set. You holiday with kings and dined out with starlets. From New England and New York, Cap Ferret to Capri. Okay, that's Ferret to Capri. Oh, that's the right pronunciation. I don't speak French. So Cap Ferret to Capri, I think it is. Now it gets easier. Okay, the next chord is an A minor but with E in the bass. Okay, so the root note is the bottom E string. Very important, not the A string. Okay, so it's comes out of that. Whichever finger you're using there, Cap Ferret to Capri, and then you play the E chord, A minor with E in the bass, Imperfect Chanel and clothes from Givenchy. Okay, so that's A minor with E in the bass. Again, at every bar you hit the root, the bass note of the chord. In this case, it's the bottom E strings on the A minor. And then we change to an E7, standard E7. That's an E chord with the third finger off, open 4th string, and again root note this time, open E string twice, two bar, sort of two rounds of that, and that's the end of the first half of the first verse. And you'll be glad to hear that you just repeat the whole thing with different words. There's 2 halves to the verse and they play exactly the same. Okay, so you just play that whole thing again. So let's try and do the whole verse, shall we? Back in the day you had been part of the smart set. You holiday with kings and dined out with starlets. From London to York, Cap Ferret, Capri. In perfume by Chanel and clothes by Givenchy. Slick and parties with David and Peter. At Noel's parties at Lake Geneva, scaling the dizzy heights of the high society, armed only with a checkbook and a family tree. And there you have the verse, and it's the same for the other 2 verses. I think there's 3 verses in the song, just different words obviously. So there's just 2 lots of what I've just shown you, and each verse, okay, just repeats. So there you have it, boys and girls. I think that's enough one lesson. That's we'll go through it again very slowly now, just to finish off, and hopefully you'll follow me into lesson 3, which is the chorus section, and how I finished it basically, which is basically part of the I just replayed part of the intro, but I'll show you how I did it. Okay, so let's go through that whole verse again very slowly. Okay, a bit slower than it is on the record. Okay. Back in the day you had been part of a smart set. holiday with kings, out down with their starlets, from London to York, Cap Ferry, Capri, things perfumed by Chanel and clothes by Givenchy. Sick Camparis with David and Peter. Oops. And there's parties with Lady Geneva, scaling the dizzy heights of the high society, armed only with a checkbook and a family trio. And then off we go into the chorus, okay, which is lesson 3. Hopefully that made sense to you, and I'll see you hopefully for, lesson 3. Bye for now.